So let us look at KTU S4 OS lab exam Viva questions. First question is, what is an operating system? An operating system is a program that acts as an intermediate between the user and the hardware of the computer. It thus provides a convenient environment in which users can execute programs. It is also responsible for allocating resources, and it acts as a control program which controls the operation of computer's hardware. What are the various components of a computer system? Any computer system consists of a hardware, the application programs, users, as well as the OS. What is the purpose of different operating systems? The mission purpose workstation, it is different operating systems are necessary in order to provide individual usability, resource utilization, in order to optimize the utilization of hardware, etc. What are the different operating systems we have? Batch operating system, multi-programmed, multi-programming, time-shared, distributed and real-time systems. Next, what is a bootstrap program? Bootstrap program, it is a technique by which what is a bootstrap program? It is a simple computer program that can activate a complicated system of programs. What is BIOS? BIOS is a software that is present in all computers, which allows the user to configure the input and output of a computer. BIOS is also known as the firmware. Next, explain the concept of batch operating system. What are batch operating systems? Batch operating systems are those that give users the jobs are provided in the form of batches to an operator who would then sort the program according to the requirements and execute them. So this helps to keep the CPU busy at all times. Next, explain the concept of a multi-program operating system. Multi-program operating systems are those that execute multiple programs concurrently. Operating system in this case would fetch a group of programs from the job pool and then keep it in the secondary storage, and then it has to place it in the main memory. Next, explain the concept of time-shared operating system. What is a time-shared operating system? Time-shared operating systems are those systems in which the user can interact with the program. Here, the CPU would execute multiple jobs, switching from one process to another so frequently that the user would feel as if the operating system is running only his program. Here, time is shared equally among various processes. Next is, explain the concept of multiprocessor systems or parallel systems. Multiprocessor systems or parallel systems are where there are a number of processes available. Advantages of a multiprocessor system is that it helps to increase the speed of execution, reliability and economy of scale. Now we have two types of multiprocessor systems. One is symmetric multiprocessing and the other is asymmetric multiprocessing. Symmetric multiprocessor systems are where each processor runs an identical copy of the operating system, whereas in asymmetric multiprocessing system, each processor has a specified task. Next is, what are distributed systems? Distributed systems are those who work across a network, where they share resources and communicate with each other. Explain the concept of real-time operating system. Real-time operating systems are those that have rigid time requirements. That is, they are used in control devices or in dedicated applications. And we have two types of real-time systems, hard real-time and soft real-time systems. Next, define MULTICS. It stands for Multiplexed Information and Computing Services. It was developed at MIT and they are subsequently used in Unix. Next, what is SCSI? SCSI, it stands for Small Computer Systems Interface. What is sector? Sector is the smallest addressable portion of a disk. What is cache coherency? So in multiprocessor systems, there are several caches and each cache may contain a copy of the same variable A. So whenever the same copy of a variable is existing in different processors, it should be the same everywhere. Okay, that is, a change in one cache should immediately be reflected in all other caches. This process of maintaining the same value of data in all cache is called cache coherency. Next, what are resident monitors? Early operating systems were called residence monitors. Next, what is the dual mode of operation of an operating system? Dual mode of operating system, there are 12 modes. We have user mode and kernel mode, also called system mode or monitor mode. User mode is where the user programs run, and here it cannot interact with the operating system's resources. They have to request the operating system, would check the request and then perform the task. Next, what are the different components of an operating system? What does it do? Operating system can perform process management, memory management, file management, input-output system management, secondary storage, networking, protection, communication, etc. Next, what are different services provided by an operating system? What are the operating system services? It acts as a program execution. It provides a program execution environment, helps to perform input-output operation, file system manipulation, communication, error detection, resource allocation, accounting, and protection. What are system calls? System calls are those that act as an interface between the processes and the operating system. What is layered approach? Advantage of layered approach. Layered approach is a step they provide modularization. Here the operating system is broken up into a number of layers or levels, each built on top of a lower layer. The bottommost layer here is called the hardware and the topmost layer is called the user interface. The layers are selected such that each layer can only access a service of its inner layers. What is microkernel approach? Advantages of microkernel approach. So microkernel approach is also a step towards modularizing the operating system. In microkernel approach, all the non-essential components from the kernel are removed and implemented as system and user level programs. This results in a much smaller kernel called the microkernel. Benefits of microkernel approaches: it is now much easier to extend the operating system. It also provides much more security and reliability. What are virtual machines' advantages? Virtualization, it is a concept by which you create an illusion that an operating system has its own process without its own memory. This is implemented by using concepts of CPU scheduling and virtual memory. Advantages of using virtualization. Basic advantage of using is it provides a robust level of security since a virtual machine is isolated from all other virtual machines. Next, system development can be performed without disrupting normal operation. And also it solves a problem of compatibility. Next is, what is a process? Processes are programs in execution, or it is a unit of work. As we know, program is a passive entity, while processes are active entities. Process requires system resources such as CPU time, memory, files, and other I/O devices in order to perform a task. We have two types of process: user process and operating system process. What are the different states of process? We have new, ready, running, waiting, and terminated. Different scheduling queues are job queue, ready queue, device queue. Then we have a waiting queue. Next, what is a job queue? Job queue, whenever process enters a system, it is first placed into the job queue. Ready queue, processes that reside in the main memory and ready and waiting to be allocated to the CPU are called ready queue. What is a device queue? Device queue includes list of all processes that are waiting to be allocated a particular input-output device. Next, what is a long-term scheduler and short-term schedulers? Long-term schedulers, also known as job schedulers, are those schedulers that would select processes residing in the job queue and then load them into the memory. While short-term schedulers, also called as CPU schedulers, are those schedulers that select a process from the ready queue and allocate the CPU. Next, what is context switching? Context switching is a process of transferring control from one process to another by saving the state of the old process and loading the saved state for the new process. It's called context switching. So in context switching, first you have to save the state of the old process and then load the new process, and thus control is transferred from one process to another. Disadvantage of context switching is that the time taken for this context switch is a pure overhead, as the operating system can do no useful work while it performs switching. Next, what are cooperating processes? Cooperating processes are those processes that share the system resources such as data among each other. Cooperating processes share data and also they communicate through inter-process communication. Next, what are threads? Threads are lightweight processes. They are the basic unit of CPU utilization. You can also call it as a program line under execution. Each thread would have a thread ID, a program counter, a set of registers, and a stack. What are the benefits of multi-threaded programming? Multi-threaded programming helps to increase responsiveness, allows resource sharing, and since resource sharing is available, it helps to reduce the cost and also helps to utilize multiprocessor architecture. What are the different types of threads? User level and kernel threads are available. User threads are easy to create and use. Disadvantage is that they perform blocking system calls. User level threads are created in the user space. Then we have kernel threads. Kernel threads are direct supported by the operating system. However, they are slower to create and manage. Which category does a Java thread fall in? Java threads are created and managed by the Java Virtual Machine, the JVM. They do not easily fall under the category. They do not fall under the category of either user or kernel threads. What are multi-threading models? And when you perform multi-threading, that is kernel threading and user threading, there are three types. We have many-to-one, one-to-one, and many-to-many. What is a pthread? P stands for POSIX standard. It is an API for thread creation and synchronization that provides a specification for thread behavior. The Windows operating system does not support pthreads. So what is pthreads? It is a POSIX standard that defines an API. It is an API, application programming interface, for thread creation and synchronization. It just specifies it gives a specification for thread behavior and not an implementation, not available in Windows. What are Java threads? So Java is one of the small number of languages that support language level for creation and management of threads. In Java, threads are maintained by the Java Virtual Machine or the JVM. So they are not classified either as user or kernel level threads. Now let's continue the rest of the questions in part 2. Thank you.